Thanks, Peter. We often talk about bullying in kids in schools. However, the topic is just as important to address, and believe it or not, with adults in the workplace. Nikki Karnowski of Metamorphosis Consulting, Coaching and Training joins us this morning on the topic of workplace bullying. Nikki, thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Natalie. You know, I found that statistic kind of shocking. More than 50% of Americans in the workforce will face bullying at some time in their career.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, the Bullying Workplace Institute estimates that number could even be higher because often it goes unreported.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild to think about. And sometimes that we don't often think about that in the workplace necessarily. It's not something, I mean, we go through trainings and things like that, but you never really expect that when you kind of leave the school stages.
Yes, you know? I agree. And I think often, sometimes we might downplay some of the things that it looks like, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, are there some ways that people could, things that people should know if they suspect they may be a target of this bullying?
Yeah, we have a list of some things that people, you know, might look at to see. And some of those things would be intentionally excluding you from conversations or meetings, important communications that you might need to complete your job successfully, spreading gossip, rumors, lies, or false allegations about you, discrediting or humiliating you, unfair or excessive criticism, intentionally undermining or sabotaging your work, could be dismissing or downplaying your contributions or taking credit for things you've done, a pattern of repeated negative nonverbals, eye rolling, sighing, dirty looks, and then excessively monitoring your work. Maybe they think that, you know, they have to keep checking your work. Here's the thing, some of those, you know, if you read them, you might say, well, you know, maybe that's been done to us sometime in the workplace, and that can happen. But the thing that really makes it bullying are three things, and that's the intensity of those things, the duration of those things, and then the frequency of those happening. So that can kind of be a guide to help people if they're like, well, some of these things are happening. So that's kind of it, that intensity, duration, or frequency.
Yeah, that's good to know. I can imagine just how stressful those experiences would be, especially in a professional environment. And I know there's some kind of steps in place to hopefully reduce those. If people want to learn more about this subject or want to learn more about how to combat this necessarily, where are some places that they can go?
Yes, well, I had the privilege of sitting down with local author and speaker Dawn Johnson, and she actually wrote a book on that. It's called Outwitting the Workplace Bully, and in that, it's just chock full of great things. It talks about the 4 types of bullies, navigating, you know, the chaos you might feel if you're going through this, how to guard your mental health and emotions, and then how to protect your career. You know, that's some of the things people don't think at. Dawn actually experienced some of this workplace bullying and, you know, came out on top and then said, you know, I want to share my story and help others who may be going through this. So in that book is just some great tips and things, resources too, that can help.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like a good resource for anyone who's struggling with this, kind of don't know what to do about it. And is there anything else, any other information or things that you'd like to add about this subject at all?
You know, that book, I think, just people can get it on Amazon if they're wondering, how do I get the book? It can be purchased on Amazon, or any of our local bookstores can order it too.
Perfect.
And one of the things she mentioned, you know, it's kind of sad, but the statistics show that often what happens in these situations is that people end up having to leave their job many times. So that really talks in there about how can you protect your career, protect things, and kind of be on that job search or whatever that might look like. And then the other thing, I think, as with anything, having the conversations in the workplace. She said, you know, sometimes it's hard to determine if it's really bullying in that, because there's no language or verbiage around that. So having conversations and talking to people about what your culture stands for is so helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that open line of communication really can go a mile.
Yes,
go a long way
yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course, right back here every week on CBS 3 for some more lifestyle tips. And we'll be right back after the break.